Kiwi and I have made it to Great Britain. We are currently in North Wales and a wee bit jet lagged. Today I thought I would talk briefly about the Auckland Writers' Festival, which is where I was before I flew to the UK. As I've said before, it was a really great lineup, so I thought that you guys might appreciate hearing a bit about my experience. First event that I went to was Emily St John Mandel, who wrote Station 11. I wasn't a massive fan of Station 11, but I thought she would be really interesting to hear speak, and I was right. She spoke a bit about being pigeonholed as a genre writer to start with and wanting to branch out into something a bit different. Her previous works were crime novels, so it was quite interesting to hear her speak about how she wanted to sort of change her tune and how difficult that is as an author once you've been labelled. Next I saw David Mitchell, author of The Bone Clocks and Cloud Atlas. I really enjoyed his interview. He was really jet lagged and you could almost see the cogs in his brain turning. Both the interviewer and some of the audience asked some interesting questions that clearly he hadn't been asked before, and so I thought it was really great to see him thinking about that on the spot. The interviewer in general focused maybe too much on the smaller details of his works rather than looking at the bigger picture, but overall I really enjoyed it. He also let slip that he selects his literary festivals quite carefully, and so it has to coincide with something that he's interested in writing. So I think we can assume from that he'll be writing something with a New Zealand base to it in the near future. He has written New Zealand characters in the past, so maybe it will be something to do with sort of their incarnations. Then was the one that I was anticipating the most, and this was Haruki Murakami. Now I really didn't know what to expect, and I didn't want to have my expectations set too high because I know he doesn't do a lot of public appearances. So in some ways the event was fantastic, and in other ways it was really frustrating. Now he had chosen the interviewer, and I think they had discussed what they were and weren't going to talk about beforehand. The interviewer did ask some really good questions, I thought, but then he could have delved so much deeper into some of them, and he just didn't. So there were lots of missed opportunities in that respect. He talked a bit about his habits and what a day in the life of Haruki Murakami looks like. Apparently he gets up at 4 in the morning to write, and he talked about going to this second layer of the subconscious when he's writing. So he said that the kind of bad people in the world, the people who create suffering for others, are those who go to that second layer of the subconscious and stay there, whereas he's able to surface again, and that's what makes him a good novelist. Perhaps the most interesting part was when questions were opened up to the audience. Now there are a few fairly banal ones like, what is your favourite food? I found that with a lot of the questions he kind of deflected them a bit. So he would rephrase the question and then expand a little bit on that, but not much. I also feel like he used humour to lighten the questions and kind of deflect them again. So rather than answering them seriously, he would make a joke of them. And he's very funny, but it was also very frustrating. An example of this is when a member of the audience asked about cats. So he was asked about why he wrote about cats, and specifically, do cats have a spirituality? He said, no, it's just a cat. Which got some laughs, but it certainly didn't go into any depth. When asked why he likes cats, he said that as a child he didn't have any friends, and so his best friend was an elderly female cat, which seemed really sad. I think that was the closest we got to a personal insight. Another time where he kind of deflected the question with humour was when somebody asked, do you think that anything is lost or if anything is gained through the translation of your works? And he basically says that because there's this gap between him publishing his works in Japanese and them being translated to English, when he reads them in English, he's forgotten everything about them. They're completely new to him, which was kind of amusing, but surely can't be the case when he spent years working on these things. Anyway, that's something that I would have really liked to hear him talk about, because that's something that I always wonder when I'm reading Murakami. So it was fantastic in some ways, but in other ways just wanted it to be pushed that little bit further. Still, I'm really grateful to have that opportunity to see him speak. I know that I probably won't have that opportunity again. The last author that I saw speak individually was Ben Okri, who was talking about his new novel, The Age of Magic. I did a video review of this book last year. He talked about how he doesn't define his books as magical realism, instead he likes to think of them as a sort of mythology, and he draws on a lot of myths when he's writing. But the most exciting thing for me was when I got got my book signed afterwards. I got my copy of The Age of Magic signed and had a quick chat with him about the design of the book. I said to him that I'm really interested in book design, I want to be a book designer. So when he signed my copy, he said best of luck in becoming book designer. So I thought that was really nice. Anyway, that was my experience of the Auckland Writers' Festival. I also went to a few other events. There were some panels and some readings, which were great as well. But these are the things that I thought would be most interesting to talk about. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have to see you next time. Bye!